Chapter 7, The Power of Believing. Welcome back to my channel, I Am Unstoppable. I am Dr. Tom Wallen, and on this week's episode, I'm reviewing Chapter 7 of the book Positively Unstoppable by Diamond Dallas Page, which is called The Power of Believing. So this chapter tells the story of how DDP rose from mid-card status in the WCW to becoming the World Heavyweight Champion. So because this is a book review, I'm going to put my glasses on because everyone looks a little bit smarter while they're wearing glasses. And let's get started. Everyone needs a mentor, and in DDP's life, he was always in search of one. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, changed all of that. Dusty took him underneath his wing and taught him everything he needed to know about the wrestling business. From the creative side of booking, to telling a story, cutting a promo, all the way to how to put a match together in the ring. He held nothing back and instilled a lifetime of wrestling knowledge upon him. Dusty loved his work ethic, his energy, and his unstoppable attitude. Now, once FCW folded, DDP stayed in Dusty's life, constantly persisting to keep close with him. Dusty soon thereafter was hired as lead booker of World Championship Wrestling in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, DDP was at a crossroads in his life. He just married Kimberly, and she was finishing up her master's degree in Minnesota, which would be a prime market for him to settle into the bar business. So he asked his mentor, Dusty, and Dusty told him that if he was serious about a life in the wrestling business, he should probably move to Atlanta. At the age of 35 years old, he packed up all his belongings and went all in on pursuing his dream of becoming a full-time pro wrestling manager and moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Dusty immediately hired him to do color commentary and hooked him up as a manager to the legendary Fabulous Freebirds. Things were seemingly going very well. He was building his name in the company and even helped his old friend and AWA partner Scott Hall get into the WCW. He helped him change his look, his character, and this soon morphed into the character Razor Ramon when he was signed to the WWF. Seemingly out of nowhere, DDP was approached by WCW management, and he was told that he would be no longer managing the Fabulous Freebirds. Apparently, his outlandish persona, his hair, his clothes, the diamond dolls, the jewelry, these were taking too much attention from the actual wrestlers. He was shockingly too over the top for the professional wrestling business. They joked with DDP that he should have just been a wrestler from the start, which DDP took to heart. And at this point, he 100% committed himself to learning the work in the ring. At 35 years old, everyone thought he was insane. He took this as a challenge. Was this truly impossible? Am I going to listen to the naysayers? Or am I going to give up on my dreams because the odds are stacked up against me? Sometimes you just have to believe in yourself and pursue your passions. And that is exactly what he did. Good. DDP enrolled in the Power Plant, which is the WCW training center, and he became their star pupil. But it wasn't because of his athletic ability, but it was more so because of his work ethic. He worked tirelessly day after day, week after week, month after month, doing everything in his power to learn his craft. He was soon becoming the first one at the Power Plant every morning, and he was the last one to leave every single night. Now, this was physically and mentally exhausting, but everyone there saw that he was different and working much harder than everyone else. People started to believe in him. And one of DDP's most powerful quotes is, "Never underestimate the power that you give someone by believing in them." Most people truly can't talk themselves up. They're so used to saying the words, "I can't." You just have to train your brain that when you start with the words "I can't," you add the word "yet." I can't yet. Adding "yet" makes all things possible. Then more importantly, you have to believe. And the brass at WCW started to believe in DDP, and this inspired him to work even harder. He started working on TV and working the house show circuit. But his reckless abandon for his 35-year-old body soon caught up with him, and he tore his rotator cuff. This stopped all of his momentum, and he was soon let go by the WCW. As soon as one door closes, another one opens. This is where he reconnected with his other mentor, Jake the Snake Roberts. Without Dusty Rhodes, there would be no Diamond Dallas Page. Without Jake, DDP would never have become a world champion. Now, Jake took a liking to DDP immediately, mostly because no one thought he would amount to anything in the wrestling business, much like everyone thought the same about Jake. He took him underneath his wing and taught him everything he knew about the business. He even moved in with DDP and Kimberly, and soon a couple of weeks turned into a couple of months. Now, Jake truly believed in him, and DDP was a sponge, absorbing every little bit of knowledge he had for him. He appreciated his work ethic, and he helped him get booked on the independent circuit. After a few months of bookings, Dusty contacted him about his tryout with the WCW at the power plant for his return. After watching the match, Dusty told him, "D, I know you've seen yourself as a top performer in our business, but I gotta be honest with you. I've never seen it. I've never seen it until today. You keep this up and you might just pull this off." DDP's career was reborn, and he had Jake and Dusty truly believing in him. He felt like he could never fail. After developing his new finishing move, which he called the Diamond Cutter, he slowly started working up his ranks as a heel. The crowds began to turn as well, and night after night, when he threw the Diamond Cutter symbol in the air, he saw more and more of the crowd making the symbol right back at him. Now this caught the eye of Hulk Hogan, who grabbed DDP and pulled him aside one night and told him if he keeps it up, the two of them can draw huge money in the future. He had Dusty, Jake, and now Hulk Hogan willing to give him the rub. But the momentum stopped. He toiled in the mid-card month after month with no payoff in sight. And he had his detractors like booking agent Arn Anderson, who told him straight to his face that he wouldn't amount to anything in this business because none of the top talent were willing to lose to him. He didn't let that stop him. He wrote down on a piece of paper, "I will become world champion in 5 years or less." And he stuck to this promise. Now DDP tells everyone, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, if you have a passion, don't just think it, ink it. Writing it down makes it real. Two years later of relentlessly pursuing this goal, he felt he was deserving of a push. It was this year that Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan developed was the New World Order, which changed the wrestling industry forever. And it tipped the rating wars, with the WCW getting the best of the WWF for the first time in history. Wrestling has never been hotter, and Kevin and Scott were now top performers in the business. Now luckily, they were also very close friends with DDP. And he approached him with an angle where he would be the first person to stand up to the NWO. This is the push that he was waiting for, and he truly believed that he deserved. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and this launched DDP into main event status. With the crowd behind him each and every night, he finally got his opportunity in a main event with Macho Man Randy Savage. When Arn Anderson, the booker of the match, asked Randy how he wanted to win, Randy shocked everyone by saying that he wanted to take the Diamond Cutter right in the middle of the ring and put DDP over. Now, no one expected this, but Randy also believed in DDP. He respected his work ethic, and he knew at the time it was the right thing to do. DDP was forever grateful for him, to him for this. When you were pursuing any lofty goal, there was always going to be self-doubt. There's going to be times where you don't think it will ever happen. There were so many times where DDP could have given up on his dreams in wrestling. But this is where a strong work ethic and believing in yourself comes into play. If you continue to believe that anything in life is possible, and you are willing to put in all the work to achieve these goals, you can and you will. Thank you again for watching this video. Be sure to like this video, leave a comment in the comment box below, and subscribe to my channel, I.AM.UNSTOPPABLE. Now in the next few days, I'll be releasing the last few chapters of the book, Positively Unstoppable by Diamond Dallas Page, so keep an eye out for that. Also, I'm going to be doing a series of videos which is going to be concluding my participation in the 2019 DDPY Positively Unstoppable Challenge, where you're going to actually see my after photos, and I'm going to be releasing some of my body measurements and my final results. So I hope you guys are all doing well, and just keep an eye out for those videos.